Many people go on diets to try and lose weight and to live healthier lives, but sometimes it can be a struggle. Brett, otherwise known as the Keto Buckeye, was diagnosed with bone marrow cancer at the age of 16. Due to this cancer, he had to have a major knee replacement. He was at his highest weight in April of 2017. He weighed 321 pounds. Brett struggled with his knee and leg, tiring out due to his weight, and so his keto journey began in April of 2017. Ketosis is defined as an abnormal increase of ketone bodies in the body. A ketone is any class of organic compounds characterized by a carbonyl attached to two carbon atoms. Macronutrients are chemical elements or substances that are essential in relatively large amounts to the growth and health of a living organism. The original keto diet is based on a 4-to-1 ratio of fats to carbs and protein. This means that your calories each day should be about 90% fat and 10% carbs and protein. This diet has transformed from one variation into 5 variations. The 5 different variations, according to the Charlie Foundation, are Classic Keto, Modified Keto, MCT, Modified Atkins, and Low Glycemic Index. There are so many different things that one can eat, and because of the guidelines, fast food can be ordered if needed. You can still have your homemade brownies or ice cream, you just have to change out a few ingredients. Bread may be hard to get rid of, but there are replacements that are pretty good. In general, there is always a decent or possibly better replacement for any food one enjoys. A normal day on the keto diet could look like having coffee with grass-fed butter, MCT oil, or coconut oil blended in for breakfast. For lunch, someone may eat a salad with grilled chicken. A great snack can consist of a handful of nuts and half or a quarter of an avocado. For dinner, someone may eat cauliflower fried rice with stir-fried chicken and vegetables. After dinner, one can eat Carb-Smart ice cream with sugar-free chocolate syrup and pecans, if they want a treat. There are numerous things that you can do, you just have to fit it to your set macronutrient levels. According to Eric Kassoff, the keto editor of the Epilepsy Foundation, the word keto means ketone, and genic means producing, so the word ketogenic means ketone producing. According to the Charlie Foundation for Keto Therapies, the ketogenic diet, or keto diet, was originally created in 1923 by Dr. Russell Wilder to help treat epilepsy. The ketogenic diet was originally created as a natural way to help treat seizures in young epilepsy patients. Ketones are produced when the body uses fat instead of sugar and carbohydrates for energy. According to Jacob Wilson and Ryan Lowry, the authors of The Ketogenic Bible, as far back as the 5th century, people have been using fasting to help with epilepsy, and that is the basis of the ketogenic diet. Fasting cuts off your nutrient supply for a time, and during that time, your body doesn't receive the carbs that turn into glucose. This lack of glucose will begin to put your body into a state of ketosis. In the most basic form, the keto diet works because the body is not able to use glucose to completely fuel itself, because it is not being provided enough. However, you're providing fats and protein, which burn and turn into ketones, which are used as an alternative and superior source of fuel. The ketogenic diet is a lifestyle that promotes the maintenance of good health, physical disease and disorder management and treatment, and intellectual and psychological disease and disorder management and treatment. The keto diet promotes overall good health, including weight loss, improved cholesterol levels, and improved triglyceride levels. The ketogenic diet can be effective for people who have wanted to lose a little weight, and even a lot of weight. Other diets work, but not always as well as the keto diet. Traditional diets, such as low-calorie and low-fat diets, will help one lose weight, but on average, people gain it back in 3 to 5 years. That is, if they remain on the diet. When on this kind of diet, one's metabolism will slow, and one will find oneself eating more and being hungry more often, which causes people to often give up. A study shows that a low-carb, high-fat diet without restricted calories tends to make the subject less hungry, and in turn decreases their calorie intake. The ketogenic diet prevents one's blood glucose levels from dropping, significantly raises one's ketone levels, and slightly raises fatty acids. That is the reason for being less hungry. Another reason this occurs is because the ketogenic diet does not raise hunger hormones, like a low-fat and low-calorie diet does. At the same time, it does not lower one's satiety hormones. This means that it does not take more food to fill someone up. The keto diet is also effective at preventing hunger because you can eat as much as you want and the calories do not necessarily matter, as long as you're strictly sticking to the diet. According to H. Casper and M. Thiel, one study found that subjects on a high-fat, low-carb diet lost about 2/3 of a pound per day for 45 days. They kept their diet from 50 to 60 grams of carbs per day and 150 grams of fat per day. The keto diet also benefits people with high cholesterol. High cholesterol levels are a problem for many people today. Doctors often recommend cutting red meats, oils, and other fats from your diet, and instead they recommend you eat fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. However, the keto diet offers another approach. There are two types of cholesterol: LDLs, low-density lipoproteins, and HDLs, high-density lipoproteins. LDLs are considered the bad cholesterol and build up in the arteries and can increase your risk of heart disease. HDLs are the good cholesterol. According to Isabel Lemus, the HDL to total ratio has been shown to be a more accurate predictor of heart disease risk than an LDL to HDL ratio. Studies have shown that a low-fat diet lowers cholesterol levels, but it does it by lowering your HDL levels rather than your LDL levels. On the other hand, numerous studies have shown that a low-carb, high-fat diet increases your HDL cholesterols, and it decreases overall cholesterol and LDL levels. With these statistics, the overall cholesterol level dropped, and the HDL levels grew. This will give you an overall better ratio of total cholesterol to HDL. Triglyceride levels are also affected by the keto diet. Triglycerides are the fats found in the blood, and high triglyceride levels have been linked to heart disease and metabolic diseases. Diabetes tends to cause an elevation in triglyceride levels, which in turn could lead to other complications. Studies have shown that a low-fat, high-carb diet raises your triglyceride levels over time, while a high-fat, low-carb diet tends to decrease triglyceride levels. One study was done with two groups of high-endurance runners. One group was on the low-carb, high-fat diet and saw decreased triglyceride levels. The other was on a high-carb, low-fat diet, and they saw an increase in triglycerides. The study shows that the triglyceride levels increased the first week of the study and stayed elevated through the end of the study. Many studies have shown that a high-fat diet increases triglycerides. However, in all of these studies, the amount of carbohydrates consumed were not limited. These studies do not prove anything regarding the ketogenic diet and triglyceride levels because there is no limit on carbs. The ketogenic diet decreases triglyceride levels, which is good for one's overall health. In addition to maintaining overall good health, another benefit of the ketogenic diet is the management and treatment of physical diseases and disorders. One example of where the ketogenic diet can make a difference is in patients with epilepsy. The original ketogenic diet was created for patients with epilepsy, and it is very clear why people still use the keto diet as a treatment. Epilepsy is a neurological disease that affects many people today. It is recognizable due to recurrent seizures of the body. Studies have shown that about 1/3 of all epilepsy patients are resistant to anticonvulsant drugs. According to Carl Strafstrom, seizures are caused by too many positively charged ions entering the neuron and causing rapid depolarization, causing the brain to react abnormally. The ketogenic diet produces acetones and acetoacetates, which affect the release of glutamate in neurons and help to regulate the convulsions. The ketogenic diet lowers the glucose levels and in turn has anticonvulsant effects. Studies have shown that the ketogenic diet can reduce up to 50% of seizures in about 55% of patients. Some patients, about 27%, have seen a 90% decrease in the number of seizures. Some even cleared them up completely. One of the first studies done with the ketogenic diet in epilepsy was in the 1930s. In this study, about 12% of individuals had a full remission of seizures. While that is a small number, 50 to 90% of all patients had a reduction in seizures. Eileen Venning writes of another study from 1998 conducted on children. They were placed on a 4-to-1 ketogenic diet, and after only 3 months, 54% of the patients had seen a reduction in seizures of at least 50%. Besides epilepsy, there are many more areas of study related to the keto diet. The keto diet has also been linked to helping patients with cancer in numerous ways. Cancer is characterized by abnormal cells in the body. Generally, the immune system destroys these cells. However, there are instances when they slip by. Studies have shown that tumor growth and high glucose levels in the bloodstream are directly connected. One way to slow a tumor's growth is to attack its source of energy. There are specific medications that help to lower glucose levels. However, there are natural ways that you can do the same thing. such as restricting calories, fasting, and the ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet is the best of these choices due to the fact that you can still eat a substantial amount. When restricting calories, you are limited to a specific amount of food you can have. However, with the keto diet, you can eat as much as you want. The keto diet lowers glucose levels and improves the immune system. This ties into cancer because by lowering the glucose in the blood, cancerous cells have less food. And by improving the immune system, the body can better fight off these diseases. Another beneficial thing for someone with cancer comes from the ketones. Ketones can be used for fuel, and they tend to decrease the inflammation in the body and the cells. The keto diet benefits many people with all different kinds of physical diseases and disorders. Finally, the ketogenic lifestyle also promotes the management and treatment of intellectual and psychological diseases and disorders. Alzheimer's disease is very prevalent in today's society. This disease causes family a lot of pain seeing their loved ones suffer, as well as a lot of money to try and take care of them. However, there could be an option to help treat them. Alzheimer's has to do with when the brain is starved, and the brain starves when there is not enough glucose in the blood, or when the brain does not absorb enough glucose to sustain itself. The solution is to give the brain a different source of energy. Studies have shown that about 85% of the brain's fuel can come from ketones. If your body is producing enough ketones, then the brain can be primarily fueled this way, and the disease can be slowed down. And it could possibly even stop the progression of Alzheimer's if used early on in the progression. Along with Alzheimer's patients, patients with ADHD can benefit from the keto diet. ADHD affects both adults and children and generally causes inattentiveness, impulsiveness, and hyperactivity. Researchers believe that sugar causes many of the symptoms. When these children consume too much sugar, their blood sugar levels decrease, unlike what you would think. Studies have shown that the keto diet helps to regulate blood sugar levels. A limited number of studies have been done specifically for ADHD, and they have seen improvements in overall brain activity. After a number of months on the keto diet, a group of children's overall behavior and focus improved. The keto diet has been shown to help people with and without health issues in numerous ways. The ketogenic diet is overall a healthy option for many people and allows people to be their healthiest self. Christians may believe that it does not matter what we put in our bodies and that we can eat whatever we want. However, this is not a good mindset to have. Romans 12:1 says, "Therefore, I urge you, brethren, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies a living and holy sacrifice, acceptable to God, which is your spiritual service of worship." This verse talks about how we are to give our bodies as an acceptable sacrifice to God. God will accept our bodies no matter what. However, God gives us the best, so should we not give him our best? Instead of eating junk food and candy all the time, we should eat healthy snacks that will help us to grow physically and mentally. We can use the good natural foods that God has given us, and we can better ourselves so that we can fulfill God's plan for us with everything that we have. For this reason, we as Christians should be good stewards of our health and should be cautious about what we allow ourselves to eat and drink. The ketogenic diet is a beneficial lifestyle that promotes the maintenance of good health, physical disease and disorder management and treatment, and intellectual and psychological disease and disorder management and treatment. The keto diet is a good way to maintain good health, from losing weight to improving cholesterol levels and triglyceride levels. Along with these things, the keto diet just overall makes you feel better. The ketogenic diet promotes the management and treatment of all sorts of physical diseases, including cancer and epilepsy. Cancer patients have seen benefits due to the way the keto diet helps to lower glucose levels, which in turn can help to slow tumor growth. The keto diet is also beneficial for patients with intellectual and psychological diseases and disorders, such as Alzheimer's and ADHD. Studies have shown improvements in hyperactivity of kids with and without ADHD on the keto diet. The ketogenic diet has been shown to benefit many people in different ways, from the overall health benefits to managing and treating diseases. The keto diet covers many different health needs. Brett, the keto Buckeye, has lost 77 pounds since April of 2017. It is due to strictly sticking to the ketogenic diet. Brett's high blood pressure has dropped, and he is doing much better. Brett is healthier than ever and has been cancer-free for 13 years. Brett can now officially say that he has lost over 70 pounds in 2 years. Brett is not the only person who has seen major results. There are many people out there with personal stories starting with different diseases and disorders, and through keto, they have become the healthiest version of themselves. The ketogenic diet is a diet worthy of consideration and admiration due to the wonderful and abundant benefits that it offers to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Did your research show that Christians don't really believe that it matters what we put in our bodies?
So most of my research was not about that. There were some things that I personally thought before in the past pertaining to that, and I would just assume that a lot of other people have thought the same thing.
Can you follow the keto diet if you are a vegetarian?
Um, you can. Um, it would be kind of difficult. Most of your fats would have to come from vegetables and nuts. I mean, avocados, stuff like that, but wouldn't be very practical.
If ketosis is defined as an abnormal state, why is this considered a healthy diet? Are there any long-term effects of the ketosis?
There are no long-term effects that have been proven or really studied. I mean, they have been studied, but they haven't been proven scientifically. So,
Is the keto diet a short-term diet? What happens if you stop?
so it can be a short-term diet. A lot of people use it that way if they're doing competitions or something, weightlifting, stuff like that. Then there's a lot of people that do it long-term. There haven't been any negative results of that, so it can be used either way.
From your research, do you believe that the keto diet is a luxury that most of the world does not have the option of due to a lack of food or money?
Not necessarily. So a lot of meats and stuff you can easily get from game, wild game. And then vegetables you can grow on your own. So, I mean, it could technically be done with little to no money.
Are there any negative side effects of the keto diet?
Not that have been proven.
How is the ketogenic diet different from the Atkins diet?
So the Atkins diet is it's a form of the keto diet. It came out of that. And it's really just a less strict version of the original keto diet.
This one is long. The keto diet goes against the natural food order that God established in this manner. Grains have been a huge part of the human diet for millennia. This is so because humans are one of the few mammals that can process grains. Almost no other mammals can process grains. This would seem to indicate that God intended humans to consume grains. Could the negative effects that you described, that you attributed to grains, actually be due to the way that food distributors process grains and not the grains themselves?
I would say that a lot of stuff could come out of the manufacturers doing stuff. However, that's not the only thing that we're able to process. I mean, in some moderation, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I guess you don't want to eat it all the time necessarily. So this would allow for some of it, but not necessarily a whole lot.
Thank you, Connor.